evening. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Millennium TV and you're watching tonight. We are back with another discussion, and tonight we'll be looking at the disrupted dialogue on Bill 7. Obviously, Bill 7 continues to make headlines, and tonight I'm joined by Honorable Mulangafure, who is actually the MP. We will discuss the disrupted dialogue on Bill 7, and also the technical committee has submitted its report on Bill 7. We'll find out what that means, especially that the Oasis Forum and some of the opposition voiced out to say they were against Bill 7. Let me welcome my studio guest, Honorable Fube. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Maybe for starters, I would also like to state that I'm against Bill 7 for a lot of reasons. I think Bill 7 has not followed, one, the legal framework. You know that a constitution-making process doesn't start with a bill. It starts actually with either the president using the Inquiries Act, appointing when need is felt, and of course there must be consensus, appointing either technical committee, or you may call it whatever, commission of inquiry. Then they go on the field, collect views from the people. After those views are collected, they are further subjected to some sort of a conference. They are like what you called NCC, or maybe constituency assembly, as some people call it. That is what is supposed to happen. And after that, that is when a bill is supposed to be tailored to be brought to Parliament, because it would have been subjected to wider participation, as our national values encourage. The national values have been thrown to the wind. And why I do not support is that I know boys like Mark is saying when people are not discussing the content. We can discuss the content fully, but when we know that the content is taking us back to one party state, it is as good as discarded, because Zambians don't like one party state. So when you look at that, another factor that I want to weigh in is that this bill, the process, is subjected to our courts, and the Constitutional Court is pari passu with the Supreme Court in terms of standing and status. When the Constitutional Court ruled, and among one of the articles that it pointed out to, that the powers that is not given to you can't use it, meaning that there's some powers that were used that were misplaced. I want to be as simple as possible so that the communists Zambia get me. And I think you find that in Article 5 of the Constitution. I know the Constitutional Court quoted a lot of what? I think what we are just having, I'm so stressed, is dictatorship. President Hakainde Hichilema has introduced dictatorship. And I'm saying it without blinking. It is dictatorship, nothing else. You know that even when we follow that content that they are talking about, for instance, we are likely to have from 156, you know, there's these three articles. Article 57, which will be repressed, all of it. Article 58, which will be repressed, all of it. Article 68. It is all about Mingalato, about playing with the numbers in Parliament to have an inbuilt majority, also giving the ECZ, that is in very bad taste. The current ECZ is not something that you can go with in a genuine election. It's full of cadres.
What is wrong with?
No, it's full of cadres. I mean, she's a cadre. McDonald's Pence is a cadre. And apart from that, when we look at the decisions they have been making, before we trust them with a new constitution, we should look at how have they performed with the current constitution. When we look at how this particular ECZ performed in the Kabushi and the Kwacha by-elections, they declared the Honorable Maranja and Honorable Boma Lusambo ineligible to stand. When actually they were eligible to stand. When they went to court and the court said something, it was even too late. We are the president who doesn't obey the law because he has got a majority in Parliament, campaigning in the two by-elections. You remember when you were saying, like Stephen Shinemlanda, when the courts had said something. Right. And you know, we have seen that the president has done machination around the PF where even Article 74, which talks about the issue of the leader of the opposition in parliament, where we are supposed to select our own leader, they have chosen our own leader. What makes you feel that such a president can respect the constitution? What makes you, what gives you confidence that his proposals would mean well? When the constitution, even in the things that have been conducted in the dual carriageway, it was not subjected to Article 210. There are a lot of questions, the Tazama thing, and many other things that the constitution says should be approved by parliament, which were not approved by parliament. Mm-hmm. So what makes you think that Mr. Hichilema would respect a new constitution or submissions? And further, I was explaining about the same Bill 7. It is taken to Parliament as a bill. First, we started hearing rumors and we couldn't believe that they would bring a bill. Mm-hmm. We couldn't believe that a bill would be brought without consulting the people. Mm. We saw Wakasune, when in the floor of Parliament, instead of just talking about how the roadmap would be, how they will start consulting the people, she even highlighted constitutional articles that should change. Meaning they had already written something which came into through the bill. The time they were saying the bill was deferred, not withdrawn, and started going to the people artificially. The people started calling, but where is the terms of reference for the technical committee? Really the terms of reference. Actually, they are saying the terms of reference should fit in and should comment on what has already been proposed by the executive. That has never been has never happened in Zambia. Even when President Hichilema want to have the courage to refer to, for instance, the amendment that happened in 1991, the one which followed the Cathedral of the Holy Cross meeting. That was by consensus. And the same churches that are being insulted were there to bring and to champion democracy back. At the time, we had Hakainde when he changed the constitution in 1972, because the Zambia independence was a multi-party nation. And after Hakainde changing through the Choma Commission to one party state, of course he gave his reasons about the multi-party doesn't seem to suit, it's bringing conflicts and the like. Dr. Hakainde had to cut his term by 3 years. He demonstrated a pedigree. He demonstrated morality, which is one of our what? And integrity. He did not care about going for elections, and of course you know that he lost, and he admitted he lost those elections. But when you want to give that as an example, you should appreciate that Dr. Hakainde listened by amending Article 4, and he listened from the people. Further, we know that even when there was some manipulation around the citizen clause, which barred Dr. Hakainde in 1996, the Mwanakatwe Constitutional Review, which was triggered by an Inquiries Act, the president appointing that, and they collected the views. What you can simply say, what happened in that constitutional amendment is that the president should run this team tailored the submissions from the people and suppressed some of the submissions from the people. Otherwise, that followed the legal framework. It followed the legal framework and it started with the people. It didn't start with the bill. So this is then later. It hasn't followed the legal framework. Yes, it has not followed. And I think I am not a lawyer. I can't apologize to anyone who is advising President Hichilema. This is illegal. This is illegal. Before we even talk about the content, this is illegal and it's going against the spirit of Zambia. Now, before you go further, President Hichilema also referred to Mr. Sata divided the country without what? That was before the 2016 elections. When Mr. Sata was the 2016 amendment, which was signed on 5th January. When you look at that, we are talking about a situation where Mr. Sata, I think that time through Article 34, because this time around it's Article 90, 91 and 92, he was given the powers of doing that. and pronouncing the land was not even in the constitution, pronouncing the boundaries for the district. If that weak argument has to take water, it's not an argument that we should even be talking about as a people. Then later, the PF increased from 150 to 156. Why did they do that? Because some of the consensus were found in 2 districts, which is an abnormality. And it was an agreed scenario in Parliament that those could be given the status of consensus. And an amendment was triggered. And I think President Hichilema should not cheat people when he says we allowed them to amend because we knew that it was the president who had spoken. He has never done that. President Hichilema has opposed all the constituency amendments. It is only when he knew that a degree would be part of the constituency. I was producing that newspaper called Youth Voice myself. I was running a network called Youth Constitution Coordinating Committee. By the time he was excited with that particular proposal. So he cannot tell us today that he has been allowing his members to what? President Hichilema was part of the process that led to the 10. His party participated in the Savonga meeting under the ZCIB, and then they also participated at Mirengoshi. They all grew cold feet about Bill 10 because even those things like deputy ministers were removed and the like. The original Bill 10 that came on the floor, it was not even as toxic as they paint. And in any case, Bill 10 had a legal framework. But people were uncomfortable with it. When it came to voting in Parliament, it had failed. And people said Bill 10 had failed. There's no way that at that point, even the president who was a president then accepted that Bill 10 had failed. He never forced it on the people. So from that time, President Hichilema has been campaigning that one of the things that he's going to look at is constitutional reforms. When he came in power, we reminded him about constitutional reforms. He started for 4 years without talking about constitutional reforms. Now that we are remaining with few months, he cooks up something because he knows that there is a problem with adoption in his party. Because when a ruling party becomes a bit attractive, especially in his strong words, and he knows that he's going to suffer defeat if at all he allows or he disappoints some of his loyalties. And then he drops them. What does he do? Okay, for some of the let me say, we are going to have 55 constituencies. And among these 55 constituencies, we will manage to pacify the shock that may come out. You know, simple. The mathematics that President Hichilema is playing is this way. For instance, if he disappoints one of the MPs, let's say, if DC want to stand, and this MP want to stand, they maybe a current MP and a current DC. If it happens that he chooses a DC and overlooks the MP, that MP has the right to choose where to belong. He has the right to choose even to go independent. That is why we are saying you cannot be an independent if you have resigned from the political party 2 months before elections.
Been adopted.
Yes, you get my point. This is the language we are getting from that boy called Diriswaneso, where he's talking about, no, we will beat the independence. But you see, the independence are provided for in the Constitution. Now, it is a situation where President Hichilema he spent more time confusing the PF. Now he has realized that there are problems in his party. There are serious problems in his party. Then the eyes can meet. Very serious problems in his party, which may border on even reducing control. Even using so-called strong words. Because if people like an MP, they vote for an MP and they vote for a choice of what that MP will do. What does he do? He says, if you have not resigned from your political party 2 months before elections, you will not be allowed to stand if you choose any other party. And what does he do? To appease MPs, he brings in things like, no, you should go back to the council of what value. Then he says, you dissolve parliament a day before elections. But parliament will sit without you will not sit for 90 days. But they have to get the perks. That's how we want to appease the MPs. They have to get the gratuity for those 90 days. But without working for Zambians. And the Zambians have to wake up. He has tried to mix up things which soothes the MPs to motivate them to go and vote. And I don't know why people are even saying that this is going to expand democracy and the like. When, for instance, as things stand, we had a consensus, and I think the President Hichilema let the cat out of the bag from his last press conference, when he said some of the consensus were discriminated. That is what his ministers have been saying about exports. That is what his ministers have been saying about development and many other factors. And what has that resulted into? It has resulted into taking consensus development fund to all the 150 constituencies, but taking 97.something% of the budget into certain areas and discriminating other areas. Like, for instance, places like ours, for how long have we been talking about Hichilema Road? We have seen roads popping up like mushroom in other places. When we have been calling for Hichilema Road, Hichilema Road was included was said that it would be included in the 2026 budget. It is not in there.
Did they give any reasons why they didn't include it?
No, they have not given the reasons. But they answered that it will be part of the 2026 budget. But we have seen roads that are not even budgeted for being done. Except that, see, if you called for me for another day, evidence is important. I will go through the yellow book, tell you which year and the like, and how some of these things are being reactive in terms of responding to an electoral package. Now, when we look at such, what we are simply talking about, when the farmers have been denied money, when the farmers have not bought seed, when the farmers have not bought fertilizer because of late payment, they are busy pushing, giving those hired groups money, and also spending on an illegal technical committee. Illegal in that the Constitutional Court has said it's illegal. The method is illegal. Whatever comes out of there should be illegal. That's simple and straightforward.
Right.
I was looking forward to the courts admitting what this forum took to court. Now we are remaining with, I think, 1 or 2 cases on this particular issue, which I may not talk about, and I only expect that the judiciary will stand with the people, not with a despot. Yes.
Okay.
They will stand with the people, not with the despot. And I think that's what I'm trying to say here.
Honorable Fuwe, I don't know if you are aware that the technical committee has submitted their report on Bill 7. I don't know, how do you interpret this? Considering that
just even look at the environment in which the technical committee submitted their report. There was that kangaroo team that was called and given all leverage just few days ago. I'm sure you heard me debate about that thing called the ZNBC there.
Right.
And I said that among other things, ZNBC is supposed to cover, when we are debating ZNBC Act, is supposed to cover national interest, press freedom, constitutionalism, and many other, and it includes also inclusivity. But we have seen that the national broadcaster has taken only one voice in this particular debate. The other voices, what used to happen, I remember Vincent Malambo during the 3rd term, as a minister who disagreed with Chiluba, could be taken to ZNBC to debate against Chiluba. There was this, opening up on 3rd term, and people were accommodating different voices. I don't think that these people, even during the elections, they would carry up certain things like race to Monday, where we used to different players in the political space are supposed to interact using the national broadcaster. They are not. They have shown very bad and democratic tendencies. Very bad and democratic tendencies. Because Zambia, from the preamble and many other articles in the Constitution, is a multicultural, multi-religious, multi-party, and a democratic sovereign state, which they have reduced to a one-party state in their deeds. So when you look at this, what Zambians are supposed to fight is the dictatorship which is so pronounced. Even just from the pronouncements in the last presser by the president, it was very clear that he is the Alpha and Omega. No one can say anything because he has been elected. You see, where he could call church groups as small cliques of people. But just yesterday, it was Bishop Mpundu and others that stood for that president. Today, they are small cliques of people. Just yesterday, it was the same Lazi and other institutions that was standing for some of these cases. Today, they are small clique of people. I saw that one. Is it Karesha? The one who wants to stand, is it in Mfuanama? Saying, imena alikuwa tabana. Elo, before taturawanda pafirisho yonse. Ufire na andira kubana. So, usha kwa taturawanda. Pafiri yoku, takwe tensa mbusha kwa ndapari constitution. That's simple. And people trapped in a country that accommodates religious diversity. Because what was targeting what the Catholic priests. I take that with a pinch of salt. I don't tolerate that particular nonsense. It's nonsensical. Nonsensical. You can't say that. You cannot say that. Hey. You see what these people want to do. They want to provoke churches. They want to provoke members of the churches. I know, as I speak, I'm a Catholic. I am injured. But I know that there are some of my friends who have chosen a political party than their religious grouping. Before I became PF, I was baptized as a Catholic. Before I became PF, actually I was baptized as a baby, as a Catholic. I started getting Holy Communion as a Catholic. I was confirmed as a Catholic before I became anything else. And Catholicism is part of my life because it has molded me in the way I look at certain things, including national matters.
I can see
my church has taught me social teachings of the church, which is social justice, and it has opened my eyes in looking at the plight of the common man. And everything that I do is about the common man. So I have met my fellow Catholic parliamentarians who have chosen a political party than their church. I can tell you that some of the people know me even within PF. I cannot choose if I know that my church has taken a particular position. You will see that even when our bishop had taken a particular position about certain things that were wrong in PF, you never heard me insult my bishop. I was a very known, member of the PF. I'm not one of those that would have poured scorn on Bishop, Bishop Mpundu, who just stood within the framework of what the church entailed. But I chose to be silent about it because I knew that it is there that when my church is using the framework of social justice goes wrong. And I think I am shocked that even some of the fellow Catholics who are calling themselves senior Catholic members, no. There's no such a senior Catholic member. Like whoever is baptized, the hierarchy only starts with priests and, the religious groups. But all of us are just followers. We are just a flock, yes. What are if you look at senior Catholic members?
So now,
yes, even there's no such a thing.
So Honorable, would you say the church are playing their role?
Yes.
In uniting the country and
yes.
speaking on behalf
of the church are uniting the country in this manner. When you look at the book written by Father Joe Komakoma, who, among other people that contributed to my understanding social justice, I can accredit. Because when I was under peace and justice, when I was being commissioned in that area, I can accredit Father Joe Komakoma was very key in opening my eyes as a young man then. Now, he has written a book, I think he has documented the pastoral letters from 1963 to 2001. In that book, he has documented how the churches, not just the Catholic Church, CCZ, EFZ, and many other, including other religious groupings, have fought about the people's pride. Why do these churches fight for the people's pride? I think they are well positioned to do that. I am even shocked that these fly-by-night pastors can even start insulting the churches. And I think that's why sometimes it's very important to go to theological schools. Mistakes. For instance, even the Lord Jesus Christ, if you go in Matthew 25, he views and pours out on the last judgment. He says the last judgment will be like this. He will separate the sheep and the goats in these two categories. The goats were condemned in that narrative. And he says that the goats will be on the left. He will say, I was angry, you didn't give me food. I was thirsty, you didn't give me water. And I was homeless, you didn't give me shelter. I was in prison, you didn't visit me. I was in hospital, you didn't visit me. I was naked, you didn't clothe me. Now go and you gnash your teeth with the devil. Then the other, which welcomed, he says that whatever you did to the least of my brothers, that you did unto me. To me, that should be a manifesto of every church. And why we have such a scenario is that Jesus was using physiological needs to give us an example that these physiological needs can cause sin. The physiological needs can divide us. If there is no food and we are not sharing this food properly, you cannot talk about the love of God. Because in Corinthians, God is love. And I'm sure in Corinthians 13 elaborates what love is. And I think the Lord Jesus Christ also further says that in the laws, the Mosaic laws that Moses gave us in Exodus 20, that of loving God, respecting the name of God and the like, the three of them corrupts in the love of God with all your heart and all your soul and all that, and with all your spirit. Then the rest of those, I think about 6 or 7, that you should not commit adultery, you should not convert your neighbor's property into yours, illegally, and so forth. He corrupts them of the love of your neighbor. And I think further, when you talk about the love of the neighbor, he brings in the picture of a good Samaritan who, in this case, when you look at the relationships of the Gentiles and the Samaritan, he picks a Samaritan because in that scenario, the Samaritan was more like an isolated and not an unexpected person too. There are people that pass through there who society viewed as the people would have responded to that situation. True. Then the good Samaritan, why is he qualifies it as a good Samaritan? Because Samaritans at that point were viewed in a different area. Now, it is a situation where this good Samaritan is passing by where an injured man is. He takes care of, he patches the wounds and the like and takes to the inn where this Samaritan can recover. And says, I'll come and pay whatever the Samaritan, what we would call wages now, whatever the injured man would have covered. But I think the Samaritan picture does not end there. Go at the well. Jesus wants some water. The Samaritan woman does what? No. Before he gives them the water, denies. Yes. Denies the water. When Jesus told that Samaritan woman, if you knew, you would have asked for the water of life from me. Because Jesus was physical, but he was God. And he reached out and interacted with the physical. He understood physiological needs. So, and there is a teaching out of there. So, in an impapasana, if you are correct, I'm churches, that's the abandoned mission. Because even abantu b'Abamulambiro kwebati n'abalakira physiological needs. Abantu bakitefya pusana n'okwita abantu banabo because of lacking of physiological needs. It's not only the spirit that should be attended to. You remember that even in the Bible, Jesus fed the 4,000. He also fed the 5,000. Do you remember? But no, the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. It is demonstrating provision of God. It is demonstrating that we as leaders are supposed to provide necessities for the people. So when we take up positions of leadership, we are expected to do more than just talking, to do more than just lying to the people. We are expected to show and demonstrate a pedigree that this is what is supposed to be done. And to me, what our bishops, our priests, and the other people of good faith are doing, it is something that is blessed by the Bible. We can quote even 150 verses in the Bible that supports the work. Look at the works of the prophets. The prophets, whenever there was suppression, they fought suppression. That has been a man of God. They owned the kings that suppressed the people. Which prophet didn't have? All the prophets had a particular message for the people, for redemption. And if anyone is fearing, if you have seen God's people are being suppressed, I mean, you look at one of the pastoral letters that the bishops, let me just say church mother body is released on the constitution. That was third term, if I remember very well, when they were talking, let my people go. You remember the Pharaoh situation?
Yes.
Where Pharaoh wanted to enslave the Israelites, and then Moses had to intervene, and Moses was used as a vessel to redeem them. The let my people go situation. So when you look at such a factor, God at every moment, and this message should go to President Hichilema. President Hichilema has never been a God that we can pray to. He is a leader we are supposed to respect. He will never be God, and he is not God. As far as God reigns in heaven, God will raise prophets at every point to defeat suppression, to defeat injustice. And the people of God will be given energy to go through the Red Sea at every point. And that you can guarantee me. And this, God works in different ways. God can work through the ballot. President Hichilema was given the what? The mandate to rule. And the President Hichilema should not think that that was not permitted by God. I'll be sarcastic to say that it wasn't permitted by God. Because I know that with God there is a permissive will and efficacious will. Efficacious will may be when God permits something to happen. God permitted it to happen. And the President Hichilema should not take that for a ride. Right. He should think that God has given him an opportunity to oversee in a civic manner over the people of God. The people always remains God's people. That he should know. They are not his people. And they will never be his people. The people always remain God's people. They are God's people.
Hey.
Now, even me in my constituency, those are not my people. True. I am only working in that position in stewardship.
Honorable, Oasis Forum has actually put out of the deck.
Yes.
I don't know what you make of that. What does it entail?
There is no genuine dialogue to talk about. President Hichilema only wants to be listened to. He doesn't want to listen to other people.
So dialogue is about listening to each other.
It's exchange of views. How is your view? How is my view? I know that people would say that the Oasis Forum went with a position. I agree with that position of the Oasis Forum because it was backed by the law. What is backing President Hichilema's stance? Nothing. Apart from Mingalato, it's nothing. Even those boys who are following him, if you ask them properly, it is just because they see that in Bill 10, if it passes, it gives them a bit of political survival.
Bill 7.
Yes, Bill 7, sorry. It gives them a bit of political survival. That is what there is. There's nothing for Zambians there. It is about President Hichilema himself, and I will not get surprised if, for instance, after the inbuilt majority is established in Bill 7, and by any chance President Hichilema goes through on the 13th of August 2016, that submission that came from Hakainde about 7 years, the nation would come to tell me if it won't pass. Because once you have inbuilt majority, you can play with the constitution, because members of parliament are allowed to amend the constitution as and when they deem it. Even without consulting, they can amend certain articles. It is only Article 79 and the Bill of Rights, that's when those are things that invite the referendum. And by the way, this reminds me, I think I also need to tackle the question of the referendum. President Hichilema was boasting, no, the referendum, President Hichilema lacks a bit of sincerity. President Hichilema was one of those that was championing the fall of the referendum. But look at how he said about the referendum. Because President Hichilema and this political party were in the forefront to campaign against the referendum. The president then, who is Israel, may also rest in peace, took a risk to expand the Bill of Rights. There are children's rights there expanded. We have never had children's rights on our Bill of Rights. What is dominant in our Bill of Rights, Part 3 of the Constitution, is the issue of civil and political rights as adopted from the Declaration, the Universal Declaration of 1945. But from there, we have not added social and economic rights and many other rights that are supposed to be part of, especially the third generation rights. We have not added them to the Bill of Rights. But there was also women's rights. There are also youth rights in the same. I was very active by then in pushing for those. And I was participating in different NGOs. But that is what President Hichilema and this political party denied the Zambians. But today, President Hichilema wants to tell the Zambians that he wants to include the youths. 12 of them. You know, in those that are sure, 12 out of the 20 million Zambians. Mm-hmm. And the 3 disabled out of the 20 million Zambians and 20 women. I am not saying these are the only youths and the disabled that may come through. But look, if President Hichilema was sincere, he would have started with a political party bill consolidating Article 60, which demands that these political parties should be balancing up on region, should be balancing up on gender and age. So that these political parties, as we go to the elections, are compelled that in their choice, because these political parties have different advantages. Some of the political parties, of course, they have advantages in certain regions, but if they have chosen women, the disabled, and the men, of course, as well as youths, among the political elements, if they have got an advantage in a particular region, meaning that by first past the post, which is used to select the current members of parliament, and which is they are proposing even in Bill 7, the women, the disabled, and the youths will find themselves from the political party point of view, from the choices of the political party. They will not wait for a scramble for the 35. There are 35, that's the 12 and the like, all together, since the speaker has to stay in parliament and the 2 deputies, plus the 55 whose constituencies are not known, it adds up to, because this Bill 10 is proposing 211 elected. Then they nominated about 10 nominated from 8 to 10. By the president from 8 to 10. Mm-hmm. Then the youths are 12. The disabled or differently abled are 3. Mm-hmm. The women 20. But where the trick factor comes in, I know people are excited to say, no, the political parties will be choosing. But as it is taturabishibwa because it says shall be prescribed. Currently there is no law that talks about proportional representation. There is no act of parliament. So since it has said shall be prescribed, meaning nga twasala mu parliament twalanda bulletin yapita era nemba kukabana yimbi act of parliament ifire kupanga out to arrive at 35. Are you sure that with this manipulation that is happening, the political parties will be choosing? Are you sure? Because you know what it is. Already, this Bill 7 is giving a lot of authority and a lot of power to ECZ. The problem we have as politicians is that when you are a ruling party, you think that you'll be a ruling party forever. When you have put Mwangalazana Misnaba Chipenzi ku ECZ, you think they will last there forever. Muchina mbatira ndati chikuruto chalibwa kwali befisa isha kweba ati mwafira mokupinda mulabuno wino people's power can change anything. All people's power dimene mena uno mstasha ni manipulate environment abana nabantu ele panga makiuza aba ndabafurwa basa ya mu ballot na nguminga stasha ni manipulate waisha kwa kubalance nsamu shitashibomba yo.
Right.
And no one is cleverer than people's power.
Let me remind the viewers that they can come through. In case you want to be part of the program, you call the number that is showing on your screen. We are discussing the disrupted Bill 7 dialogue, and I have with me Mr. Honorable Mulangafore, who is Chilubi MP. So in case you want to come through, feel free. The line is open, and we'll give you that chance to call in. Now, Honorable, even after Oasis Forum has pulled out, and today the technical committee has presented its report, what do you expect in that report?
My brother, I am not even interested in the report.
Okay.
I am not interested.
Why are you not interested?
Yes, not because I hate anyone, as people will always rush to hatred. I am not interested. I read it for the sake of reading. But it's a product of illegality. Yes, it is a product of illegality. I know people want to bank on Article 92 that the president has the authority. Yes, the president has the authority to appoint, and possibly would have appointed them legally. But what the subject matter they are looking at has been declared illegal by the Constitutional Court. And therefore, there was no need even to continue. Especially that the bill was not withdrawn, it was only deferred. It is still active in Parliament. There is a committee looking at that thing. Meaning that the committee has to also to receive submissions from different stakeholders, then they bring back the same bill without alterations. If you look at the what is this? The terms of reference. The terms of reference were developed from the bill. What is supposed to happen is that the terms of reference are supposed to be open, and the Zambians are supposed to submit on the things they want to change in the constitution. This time around, Mr. Hichilema and others fought on behalf of the Zambians, tailored the bill, and that's why they have gotten the terms of reference.
Terms of reference.
So to me,
let's just hear from this person.
Submitting that man means nothing to me. It means nothing.
All right. Hello. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you. Give us your name. Where you're calling us from?
Yes, citizen. Mangala.
Yes, Mr. Mangala. Please go ahead.
Good evening, Honorable Fuller.
Good evening, senior citizen.
Thank you so much. One thing I'm happy with you is that you have maintained the same stance on Bill 7. The other time I interacted with you when I said, please don't lose any focus on this Bill 7. We don't want it. And you are still maintaining that. I'm very happy with that. Now that the Oasis Forum has pulled out from the negotiation, because each one of us, most of us were predicting that this thing will not go anywhere. Because our leader, Hakainde, we know him as a man of winning Garado. This man does not start an issue. His aim is to win. That's all. If you look at some of these issues that have been controversial, there's image victorious. That's all he wants. No matter if you are 1 million, you still want to win. My question is, sir, what's the forum now do? Which way will they go? Will they go to the same court that declared Bill 7 a nullity, or what? Where do they go from here? Where do you think they will go from here? So we want this fight to continue and must gain momentum even much more. That's my only question.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Senior Citizen Mwangala. Thank you for calling. You can also come through. You can call just like Senior Citizen Mwangala has called. You'll be part of the program. The line is still open. Let's get your reaction, Honorable Fube.
Well, Senior Citizen is right. He is right in that when you look at some of these things are already written down in the Constitution. In as far as we can condemn the 2026 Constitution as having some gaps here and there, the people have not agreed on which contents and what to change. It is Hakainde Hichilema who is imposing these things on the people.
On the people.
But look at the national values, my brother. They talk about democracy, they talk about constitutionalism, they talk about integrity, they talk about ethics, morality, and many other factors. They also talk about national unity. They talk about non-discrimination. Inclusiveness. Meaning that participation was not there, and the court said it. That this is against national values. It's also against Article 8, Article 9, Article 5, and if something is against Article 8, Article 1, Article 5, and Article 9, it also means that's against Article 1, which says anything that goes against the Constitution should be ignored to that to its inconsistency. And now, when you look at Article 9, for instance, the first part talks about the president presenting, coming to parliament to talk about national values. And I think it is now looks like the president just comes there to fulfill the fixture. It doesn't mean anything.
Formality.
Yes, so formality. It doesn't understand why he comes to parliament. Now, when you look at Article 9, Clause 2, it says that the national values should be used to interpret this very constitution. You cannot talk about a constitution you are about to amend before you respect the constitution that is there. We are a constitution order. The 2016 amended constitution still is legal. It says the national value should be used to interpret this very constitution. It should be used to make laws and interpret other laws. Meaning, if you have got those things you floated, cyber law, which is against freedom of expression and then other factors, those are illegal things. And I can tell Mr. Hichilema to come and resist those.
Okay.
We will resist those. Now, it also talks about state implementation of state policy, meaning it has covered the whole life. Meaning, national values as a campus to judge, to make a judgment. But that's not happening. Let us be serious. It's not happening. Parliament. If you have been saying about parliament, the first mirror we are supposed to view is using the national values. We shall have fitting you build 7, 9 minutes fitting national values. Not I fitting me. Morality na ethics in the Landapo. If you are going
anywhere.
Yes, it shouldn't go anywhere. Right. If you bring if you aside law, according to Article 9, Bill 9, if you aside law, Mwafika kuli Article 9 as a chilola. If you have but this is not being followed in the nation.
All right. Dear viewers, you can still call in. I could see someone was calling, but you can still call back right now and we'll put you live on the program. We are talking about the disrupted Bill 7 dialogue, and of course Oasis Forum has put out. What's the next move? Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening. Mabombe mkwai.
Mkwai mabombe na mwayo.
Mkwai, nebo Priscilla kwa mandevu.
Priscilla kwa mandevu landen tumfe tuna ba mulenga for MP.
Okay. I am previous mabombe mkwai.
Mkwai mishani mwa Priscilla kwa mandevu.
Prefer we no kono kutula kwanza. Bill 7 bale fwaye. Batara HH. Ngetyo. Bale fwaye ngeto filaba esta promise ukuwombera abantu. Idio 7 balefa umusango ngeso balefi bomba. Tanga nachuwa masanga. Tanga balefa Bill 7 oleta flight promise abantu bajifidwa. Nesa na cheka kombo ni muno. Twapapata. Apa tufikire ni pakana mangasi. Kakwata robunga ta Parenson. Apendesa my election. Poti do 7 voto pratica na takuishbaye deweka. Epombere mkoi.
Thank you so much to Atasha kwa tokela pa kutumia kwa phone mama. What is your comment on that one, Honorable?
In any case, what Madam is saying, when Mama our 2 9 of wadi, kari ba mawe ne ba tumuleke ko watu kwa techi wote muna ni muchalo, nga matumone. Esa abantu bale kanda Bill 7. Ba tata wa HH, na ba kwa energy sana kali Bill 7. Tabako the same energy, bali chita admit ati ifyama right bali ifirwa. Tabako the same energy pakuwesho bunga konga lefe bala ile. Tabako the same energy pa fertilizer. Tabako the same energy pakulipira ba farmer. Tabako to ngoro pakulipira ba farmer. Tabako the same energy bali road shedding. Nefinji na ngufitira landa economics yabo ya move paper fie. Ya kwa no imani kane filamana ndashani mfita sana to debt restructuring. Ese balanda pofi batafika tena upivu lokubumi wa bantu awe. Tafire kwata kuti balanda debt restructuring LC bakamkwa naba chaba mwa ko bataba expose mentally or intellectually. Aba ko batinga bale panga comparisons wasasanga no debt restructuring kai PF was defaulting. Abanye bali pila ko ngole. PF defaulted once and the next year was the election year. So we were supposed to pay the debt. And in the time PF defaulted, the large part of it was because of Corona, which my HH admitted is forward in the 8th National Development Plan document, where he said the Corona destroyed the economy and led to default. But the message he took to the voters is that the PF started default because Makula Tabash Valanguchimo. That's why I remember voters. He didn't say it is Corona. He was even calling Corona as a hoax. Coronavirus, the COVID-19
as a hoax.
He called it a hoax. But when the pressure Corona, which was world over, even America was affected and other countries were affected. It was out of there. Moment wa kwanza mtamwa ishiva. If you next type of boss that not to alimisha ma teachers nifi. Kwa pali ndala mashashire pa 3 August 2021. Esha batila special dwelling rights. It was 1.3 billion. It is that money that Mr. Musokotwane Poundstone to recruit teachers and health workers. Yes, you're doing PF in Daramadia. But that's what they boast about. No, teachers not Steffi. Whatever that means. Kwani huna nanda pama right. Kwani huna nanda pamala. Mwa kulanda pamala. Na mbana mumona abadi leta instability muri what they have caused is an energy crisis. There is an energy crisis because amarasha yaridula, tiyo yaridula, amarati yaridula. Abantu bakatana kwa kutukila. Na watu kutukila kwa amarasha wasala na dula, utukila kwa amarati wasala na dula na gas because of the pressure that my HH wale tamchalo. Na dula kumo. So any form of energy is expensive. So when you look at these factors, ebo twale for our HH bailanga wa me. Mukunena, but now we should feel bashira, balanda fuel la boshe, boshe finish. Basa ngile diesel ilipa 15. 15 kwacha. Basa ngile petrol yalipa 17 kwacha. Ila stafiri pa shinga, ila imbe pa 29, umayo walumbe pa 26 ila imbi. Nini itawa ingila pa na muri domain ya PF, munyomo ya shirire PF awe. Wapo waishira wabika kofie. Wapo waishira 50 cents a share in 2 times 2. For instance, I'm a fish farmer. I was buying feed 11.5 kgs. MPF, 2021. Because my government should balance amataba, bali should look shati. Amataba ya base material ya kuli feed. Wala stapana 320. 320 na 321 na 322. The lady yesa kaliyama ya feeding yesa biture stapana 795. Yapa tureshta. Meaning it is more than 2 times. Echa wakasole kubunga because ana umana tabantu wala kubunga but umutengo wankoko ule pamulu umutengo wesabi because isabiri ngero tulia balifuna ma natural bodies ifuna kwa 11 fisheries za mu Zambia asa contribute kuli protein content ya Zambia through fish. So fish unaweza manyanza ya sabi ya Shoprite hiyo ni it's prohibitive forces, we can't buy.
Okay,
we cannot buy. Right, so when you look at such not
hello, good evening. Yes, good evening, thank you. Hello, who are we talking to? Good evening, Dr. Proud. How are you, Dr. Proud? We are okay, thank you. Please.
The more money in your pocket. But we produce junkies, we produce jalapeno. And the we sign the constitution where we deny any citizen to enter civil society. But it is the news you are saying in Mr. Peralaichura, they are not being employed through constitution of PS. Right now I'm in Millennium. We got the Honorable Shadow Pusu and Pana. Someone is saying, no, that is the zero for garbage because the constitution is the big government. If we generate two constitution, don't even get here. Just prepare yourself to stand as a president, as a European, we are going to face you. So then you should retain what we do in
Dr. Proud. Dr. Proud.
Several times when I'm on radio.
Okay, Dr. Proud, we are discussing.
You will be discussing about constitution. You are talking about sewer system. Applaud.
There is not even a platoon. Not even a Morocco.
But Edgar left. Hello, Proud. If you want to take you on that one, that's at Edgar Shama Hospital, which cannot be bought Kataka to
please, when you call on this platform, please remember to stick to the topic of discussion and look at.
Hey, Jeremy, there is not even a pontoon. Who told you we use pontoon? We use a nice boat which was left by Edgar there.
All right, let's hear from the person. Hello. Hello. Good evening, madam. Okay, Chisuma.
But Dr. Proud that UPND callers. They launched to Vanilla Po. A
group of callers.
Yes. Our calling to argue with the objective and reasonable people who are talking about the nation. Dr. Proud, let me tell you, I have never been part of the people that should bury the nation. And that's how I've grown. Even the time I was in the civil society, I fought Bachuruwa over the third term. This is not the first time I'm what? The only constitutional amendment that I think I supported is the butane. I certain things the Zambians, when they said no, I reasoned with it. So when you look at that, Dr. Proudy, I think when you look at such, me, I don't support it because I've been hoiled. No. And I think no one is going to oil me because I'm a member of parliament to sell Zambia. One thing that I will not accept, even over my dead body, is to go back to one party state. This bill 7 is talking about a clever way of crafting a one party state. One party state kuri Hakainde. Hakainde wali katini 3 years. Uku populate femano party 3 years of his rule. So that we go back to democracy. We impact kishara you are proud.
Okay, just hold your fire, honorable. Just hold your fire. Hello, good evening. Hello?
Honorable Forrest, help me to understand what I read in today's the Daily Nation, where our constitutional lawyer, John Sangwa, is saying Bill 7 does not exist. He says Bill 7 does not exist. That is actually in the Daily Nation. Please help me to understand what he means. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I think in short terms, when the legal mind says Bill 7 doesn't exist, it means that Bill 7 has followed an illegal route. According to him, anything that has followed illegal route, which even the Constitutional Court confirmed that is illegal, does not exist. You see, this is a process that can be challenged in future, because what we are doing is illegal. The Constitutional Court has confirmed. The Constitution, the process protects the content. So if the process is wrong, the content is of wrong intention. True. So meaning, when Basangwa says he does not exist, in simple terms, he is saying it's illegal. It started with a bill. Instead of starting with consulting the people, then the people have to fit into the bill, which was thought about by the UPND. I did not even say government, because I'm part of government. That's a UPND project. The UPND has realized it has become so unpopular, now it wants to survive politically. That's why they are bringing Bill 10, the Bill 7, is to survive politically. That bill, according to our democratic standing, it's very evil. Very evil. Because it's going against the standing of our democracy. So when Basangwa says this bill is non-existence, he's only saying it's illegal, and according to the current laws, including the Constitution, it has not followed those things. It means it's illegal. What is illegal from his point of view is non-existence, because all of us gather around the law. All of us are protected, and we elect presidents, we elect mayors, we elect councillors, we elect members of parliament using the law. Anything that produces a member of parliament without using the law does not exist. Anything that produces a president without using the law does not exist. That's this Bill 7. He is trying to propose certain things and bulldozed. It is as good as not existing.
All right.
Yes.
So as we're about to end the program, Honorable Fube, now that Oasis Forum has pulled out, what next for the Patriotic Front and the entire opposition and everyone who's against Bill 7?
Well, let me tell you that this is a moral fight, and our constitution talks about morality and ethics. To us, we are speaking a voice of reasoning, and we are reaching out to the nation. It is up to the nation to make a choice. We can only do this part, but it's up to the citizenry to join in activities that are going to defend the Constitution. Because every Zambian has the right to defend the Constitution according to Article 2 of the Constitution. The President himself, according to Article 91, is supposed to safeguard and protect the Constitution. That's what Article 1 says. But this is not protecting the Constitution. He wants to mutilate the Constitution using a one-party state brought through a back door called Bill 7. But sometimes I'm already enjoying multi-party. Why does he want to bring a one-party state? Why does he want to dominate the political scenario alone? He already has been tampering with the PF so that it is frustrated out of the political landscape. But the PF has been resistant. And I can tell you that God Almighty will find ways. He will make a way where there is no way. What is supposed to happen according to God in this country will happen. As far as God lives. God will never be dead before all of us are dead. And God doesn't die. God is a spirit. He was there, he is there, and he will be there. All of us will pass, God will exist. So as far as God is in control, what is supposed to happen, what is supposed to be, the voice of the people is the voice of God. What is supposed to happen and what is supposed to be for the people will be protected as far as God lives.
Okay.
And we will use the Spirit of God to push. We don't have guns. We don't have violence like Ruchoniso and other people. But we will depend on the Spirit of God to champion the cause for the people until victory is guaranteed. Until victory is recorded. And we shall not budge. We shall not go behind. The people should be guaranteed that even with the confusion that has been planted in the PF, we have a good number that is likely and willing to fight this fight on behalf of the people. And as for us, God is our guide, is our compass. Just like it is declared in the preamble group. Depend on the energy from God, because He's our creator. And as far as our creator lives, we shall fight.
All right.
Yes.
Honorable Fube, thank you so much
and
as always.
When I say we shall fight, muna mchalo mwadi baba stontonkanya. Ala bati baba apapelo wala muna kadari and the fight I'm
talking about. Might misinterpret your words.
Yes, the fight I'm talking about, my brother, is legal means. There are legal means within the constitution and within our laws. Those will be fighting within legal means. Yes. If the situation fails us, we would have done our part.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for coming through as always, Honorable Fube.
I am greatly humbled that you have given me the opportunity to disseminate information and allay the voice of reasoning to the people. And I think we shall not relent in making sure that we stand for the people. When I was elected by the people of Chirubi, they elected me to defend the Zambians, to registrate, to also represent, approve the budget, among other things, and also do an oversight law, which I'm doing.
All right.
Yes.
We end the program here. I can see someone is still calling, but unfortunately, we have run out of time. Thank you so much for your calls and for those that were listening and viewing this program. We appreciate your time. I was hosting Honorable Mulanga Fube Chiluli MP. We were discussing the disrupted Bill 7 dialogue and what next, especially that Oasis Forum has put out of the dialogue. My name is Ruben Mwanza. We end the program here. Thank you so much for your time.